Hi, this is Bernie, your Uber elder, taking a little break here in San Mateo near the San Francisco airport. I'm thinking about all the industries that serve us in our modern day life. Let me go through some of the major industries. It starts with farming and ranching, and that is putting food on our table, including the fishing and a little bit of hunting. We have the forestry and logging, creating the lumber and plywood for our homes and buildings, the mining and the quarrying that's necessary for the minerals, and the gravel for the concrete and the roads. We have a whole category of industries called business services, which include advertising and marketing, which is huge in order to get through the clutter of the complexity of our lives. We have data and records management, which is needed more than ever because there's more data and more records than we could ever have imagined even a generation ago. We have the accounting and tax preparation that the law requires. We have facilities management. We have to clean them, maintain them. We have HR and recruiting, the human resources to take care of staffing our businesses, legal services to keep them out of trouble, management consulting to get advice to the people running these companies, payroll service to deal with some of the mundane tasks. We have sales services. We have security services. We have all these specialty services for the various industries and businesses we have. Then we have the financial services of like banks, huge banks. We have credit unions, maybe a little smaller, closer home, but they keep growing and merging into mega credit unions. We have credit cards, the essential money of our time. We have insurance and risk management so that we individually don't have to bear any responsibility. We pay to have an industry take care of that for us. There's the venture capital that allows corporations to get started. There's the lending and mortgages that allow us to buy cars and homes that we otherwise couldn't really afford. We have financial planning, ostensibly to help us with our retirement. What a fraud. We have security agents and brokers selling the stocks and bonds and all of the other instruments. We have trust, fiduciary, and custody services. Then let's get into electronics. We're sitting here in Silicon Valley with the semiconductors and microchips. There's audio, video, and photography industries. There's computers and parts and repairs. There's consumer electronics for like these smartphones and everything else we plug in our houses and businesses. There's instruments and controls that run the assembly lines and the robots. There's networking systems to keep our businesses and other institutions working. There's the IT and the network services that manage these big systems. There's the network security that's required to keep intruders out. There's the office equipment to allow people to work comfortably within these corporate settings. In another big industry sector is energy and utilities. Of course, there's the gasoline and oil refineries. There's the gas and electric utilities. There's alternative energy like the wind farms and the solar farms and those that install them on the roofs. There's the water treatment and the utilities. There's the sewage, the collection, the treatment. There's the waste and recycling that comes by our homes and businesses at least once a week to pick up our trash. Let's talk about education. There's not only the elementary and high schools, the colleges and the universities. They're supported with libraries and archives and museums of all kinds. We have sports and arts instruction, some of it outside of the schools. We have technical and trade schools. And then in the end, we have test preparation so that students can put their best foot forward when they apply to colleges or to a business. We have government as an industry. I mean, government is huge. It starts at the local level in terms of community service districts like fire districts or water districts. We have city and county governments that are local but already more aggregated. We have state government. We have the federal government. We have international organizations. We have a hierarchy of governance that we have outsourced so much to. I'm not even talking about the military and NASA and spying and data collection on all of us. But let's talk about health for a minute. The health industry starts with doctors and the healthcare practitioners, the hospitals, the various medical devices that are now part of what we implant in our bodies, and prosthetics that are artificial human parts. We have the medical equipment that we rely on both at home and in the hospital. We have outpatient care as an industry. We have personal health care where people are coming to your home or you're going into a home to receive it. They're the drug companies, the pharmaceuticals, huge, huge industry. We have the elder care facilities. I'm not looking forward to being in one of those. We're surrounded by biotechnology firms here in Silicon Valley, and that's a future of bringing more and more of the computer into the human body and life. We have diagnostic laboratories. We even have veterinary services for our animals. Underneath it all is the real estate. We have the architects, the engineers, the designers, the contractors, the remodelers. We have the construction equipment and supplies, the real estate developers, the brokers, the agents and the appraisers, the property leasing and management. Real estate is a huge business by which a lot of people have gotten rich, and we outsource that, finding a place to live, to so many industries. The manufacturing industry spans almost everything. The aerospace and defense, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages are separate industries. Autos, boats and RVs, chemicals and petrochemicals, concrete, glass and building materials. The farming and mining machinery that now does the farming for us. There are very few people in farming anymore. It's mostly John Deere and other machinery companies. The food product packaging, so essential for the distribution and storage of food until we buy it at our grocery stores. The furniture manufacturing. I mean, who makes their own furniture anymore? Metals manufacturing, paper and paper products, the plastics and rubber, textiles and apparel and accessories, the tools, the hardware, and the light machinery. Those are all there to help support major industries of all type. And then we have a transportation segment where we have the air couriers and the cargo. We have the airports, the harbors, the terminal operations. We have the freight handling. Both rail and truck are dominant in our country. We have the marine and the inland shipping on boats. We have the moving services on trucks. We have the buses, taxis, and Uber drivers to get us around. We have delivery and couriers. I mean, now even our food can be delivered, like with Uber Eats. We have warehousing and storage for the temporary keeping of things that aren't quite ready to go to the end retailer or to the end consumer. We have that wholesale and distribution sector of our economy, the industries that deal with the apparel, the automobile parts, the beer, wine, and liquor, the chemical and plastics, the groceries and food, the lumber and construction materials, the metals and the minerals, the office equipment. Those are all big, big segments of industry within our industrial civilization. And of course, there's the retail. There's the automobile dealers that we all must go and buy our automobiles at or lease them, or now they'll deliver it to your house and you can just buy it over the internet. We have the automobile parts and supplies. We have the beer, wine, and liquor stores, the clothing and shoe stores. We have department stores. Well, they're starting to go away, kind of being replaced by Amazon and more specialty and discount stores. We have florists. Why do we need florists? Can't we pick our own flowers? Is it meaningful to go online and have a bouquet put together by somebody else and given to a loved one far away? I don't know. Furniture stores. I mean, we've got to buy our furniture. We can't make it anymore. Well, of course, we need our gasoline stations to keep moving our cars and trucks around. We have our grocery and specialty stores that, of course, we frequent. We have our hardware and building material stores. We have our jewelry, luggage, and leather and other luxury stores. We have the office supply store, Office Depot. We have the restaurant and bars. Now, I frequent restaurants, but mostly fast food. And they take all sorts of forms, but in addition to that, we have sporting goods, hobby stores. It goes on and on and on, the retail. Then we have telecommunications, the way we talk across distances with each other. Of course, there's the cable TV with the dish and the cable. There's the telecom equipment, there's the telephone service that's changing to cellular, of course, the video and the teleconferencing. It's becoming wireless and mobile, and we're getting more and more and more in that in our life so that we don't ever have to look up anymore. We just look down at our phones. There's the software that makes all of that work for us. They're the operating systems, whether it be Microsoft or Apple or others. They're the applications, the apps at the App Store keep getting bigger and bigger. There's the data, analytics, the management, the internet management, the e-commerce, the e-business, the video games, unbelievably big industry sectors. There's the consumer services like automobile repair and maintenance, parking lot and garages. We got to leave our cars when we go into buildings and want them back when we get out. We have laundry and dry cleaning. I mean, who washes their clothes anymore? Personal care. Of course, we got to get others to cut our hair and manicure our cuticles. And then finally, there are funeral homes and cemeteries to take care of our remains. There's the media and entertainment, radio, TV, and then online has just exploded. The theaters are changing. You can now eat in them. We have the movie makers of all sorts, the Hollywood and the mobile movie making. We have the newspaper, books, and periodicals. We have performing arts, and we have adult entertainment as a huge industry. Something's wrong here. We have recreation and leisure, of course. We have big cruise ships that get ever bigger. They're like whole cities. We have lodging in the biggest and fanciest hotels. We have sports and recreation like golf and tennis courts. We have passenger airlines, of course. We have rental cars when we get there at our resorts and casinos. And then we have their spectator sports and our teams that we go cheer in all of the professional leagues and the colleges. We have amusement parks to take our kids to get them ready for this other entertainment lifestyle that we adults think is the greatest. We have travel agents. Well, maybe not anymore. That's all being automated. So travel agent industry is definitely changing. And then another industry people don't think of as an industry are the nonprofits, the advocacy organizations, from green to everything. We have charitable foundations that we think are helping the poor, but really they're helping the elites that run them. We have professional associations for the various professions that are in all these industries. We have religious organizations. These were probably the first organizations that created the hierarchy, that gave the control, and had an outsourcing of thinking for people so that average people didn't have to think for themselves. They could be told what was right and what was wrong and what to do and what not to do. And we still have social and membership organizations like Rotary Club, all of them doing good, but also part of maintaining a culture of class and status. And then we have trade groups and labor unions trying to stand up to the corporate world, and I'm not sure they're able to. So these are just some of the many, many, many industries that make up our modern life, that serve us, that provide us the goods and services that we demand, that are way too complex to manage ourselves. And there's so many of them that we've outsourced all of this part of our lives to these industries. And I'll say there's hundreds of industries, and there's probably thousands of professionals and people working in those industries that serve each and every one of us. So we have such complex lives, and of course, can those industries continue to expand as they are, or is there a limit to their growth? Is there a limit to the economic capitalist growth on the planet? Well, of course there is. Fossil fuels have made it all cheap and easy to have this exponential growth. And just as sure as we've had this growth, we're going to have a reckoning, and it's going to end, and we better learn to stop trying to outsource everything we need and want and try to figure out how can we provide it for ourselves. And how can we do things that don't involve electricity or the internal combustion engine or the internet? I mean, that's a challenge. Our lives are going to be turned upside down, and we better get ready for it. So I thank you for bearing with me at going through a list of major industries, because I think we sometimes lose sight of how complex and how complicated our world is, and how we ultimately have a long way to go to get to a much simpler life. But we must get to a simpler life, a low energy way of living, much more indigenous in its construct.